Hey there, welcome to A Day at Our House, Harvest House's virtual home again luncheon. I am Erin Miner, and I have the privilege of being the CEO of Harvest House. We are so excited that you are here with us today and your willingness to participate in our mission. For those of you who have purchased tickets, hopefully you've received your tote bag with gifts and all the goodies and are enjoying the charcuterie box right now. We want to thank our presenting sponsors. We would not be able to do this without Gulf Coast Community Foundation, the Community Foundation of Sarasota County, and many of our neighborhood sponsors who you'll see listed below. Later on, you'll hear from Mark Pritchett and Roxy Gerry. Also, your gift will be doubled today, thanks to the generosity of the Charles and Margery Barancik Foundation and Gerry and Fay Bainbridge. You will find a How to Give flyer in your tote bag if you got one today, and also in the description below. Since we were together last February, man, we have been through a year. And I am so proud of our first responders in this community and the Harvest House team. They have never given up, never stopped loving and serving, never stopped championing hope, even when we really all felt hopeless. And during their own personal struggles through a grueling year, they never stopped showing up for the people who needed it most. I'm sitting just outside of my house, a place I probably take for granted all too often. There are so many privileges that brought me to this very step. Privileges that most of us see as the norm, but unfortunately they're not. A stable and loving home, food on the table, the lights that work when you flip the switch, presents and cake on your birthday, proper clothing and supplies for school, and even reliable transportation to soccer practice. Because of your support and the passion of our staff, we wrap around our clients just like a family would. Today, you will hear from staff and clients spread across our 9 supporting housing campuses. This next hour, you're going to get a sneak peek into the lives of the beautiful people we journey with every single day. And when you give today, you're going to help that next young adult who walks through our doors, who has no family to lean on, but has their entire life ahead of them. Can you imagine being 19 years old with no home, very little income, no one to trust, lack of physical safety, and not even one person to celebrate their birthday?
So we had worked with Rakaya last year. I had actually met her on my birthday. So I always remember the day that I met her at high school, at Riverview High School. I was down there for a meeting, and a guidance counselor had come to talk to me and say, one of our students as of today is going to be homeless. And so we were able to, within the next couple of days, get her housed in our transitional unit. So during intake for her second stay with us in transitional, I noticed, I was like, oh, your birthday's coming up. And I was really super excited because, you try to make a big deal. And she's like, yeah, she was real quiet about it. And I said, oh man, you're not excited? And she said that ever since her mom had passed, that nobody really made a big deal about her birthday. I was leaving to go and go home for the day. And I went back to that campus, and another guest at the shelter had said, she was walking down the sidewalk and she was knocking on the door of the girls' unit. And I'm very protective of my girls. And I was like, can I help you? And she's like, yeah, I'm just looking for one of the girls. And I said, okay, well, I'm their case manager. Is there something I can help you with? And she said, well, I heard you wish happy birthday to one of them earlier this morning. And I said, oh yeah. And she said, I'm a mom. And it just broke my heart, thinking that she's here, essentially alone. She goes, I know you all are here with her, but, she's here celebrating her birthday alone. And I said, yeah, we got her a little cake and I put it inside. She's at work. And she said, well, I asked the intake specialist, Dawn, if it was okay if we could order her a pizza and soda. And I wanted it delivered here for her birthday for when she got home. She said, I always order my kids pizza on their birthday, and I wanted to do the same for her. It's very touching to see someone struggling in their own situation have that space in their heart to say, hey, this is a kid.
I didn't really want to tell nobody about my birthday because I don't really do nothing. And so I was really going to spend my birthday at work, which I did. But when I got home, I had a surprise. Like I had a cake, I had balloons, I had a card, and I had a gift bag. It was like a wooden thing with like a quote on it. And I set it up in my room. Just a couple months ago, I was so down bad. I was crying every single day because I felt like I was failing. But now Dana and Amanda, they helped me so much. Like I can't even explain how much I appreciate them. Like I can't even put into words. What the drop-in center means to me is like I can come here, I can always talk to Amanda and Dana. I can always talk to them about anything, like, or I can always just come here and just relax and just chill, like on my days off. I can come here and I can fill out job applications. I can come play the game. I can come color, paint, eat. They feed me. I don't even have to ask for food. I just go in and I just get myself situated and I just relax. It's like they never get fed up with me. Like I've been around people that get fed up when I'm around too long, and they never get fed up with me.
Rakaya and the other 1,070 men, women, and children that we served in 2020 is exactly why we're here. They are why you give. And isn't it such a privilege and an honor to be able to come alongside one another and support each other as we all journey through this crazy and complicated, messy life? We really can do this together. I'm Shailena Holmes, and I'm the Director of Development and Marketing. And I'm standing here in the Harvest Food Pantry, where staff and volunteers work to box, store, and distribute over 600,000 pounds a year. This translates to feeding over 11,000 families through our weekly community distribution. Now, many of you may not know this, but Harvest House was actually born out of the Harvest Food Pantry. Back in 1990, Pastors Jim and Peggy Miner began their community outreach through food distribution and realized that many of the people coming for services were actually in need of addiction recovery help. While giving out meals and groceries is absolutely essential in the immediate sense, they realized that there was a deeper issue that needed to be resolved in order for a person to truly move into health and wholeness. And so, Harvest House was born with just 6 beds for men in recovery. Now we have over 400 beds with programs for just about anyone needing help. And still, there is one central component that is crucial to our clients' and community success, and that is food security. 41% of households in our community are struggling to meet basic needs, and food is one of the most basic human needs. There are also dozens of food deserts right here in our community, which makes it really difficult for clients and community members to access food, nutritious food, on a regular basis. So every week, the Harvest Food Pantry distributes grocery boxes to anyone in the community who comes for help. Sometimes people are so used to eating pre-made meals and fast food that they may not always know what to do when an eggplant or a zucchini squash comes in their box. So our food pantry manager, Eureka, does a really great job of sharing recipes and things to the community. But this is also a really great opportunity for our case managers and our life enrichment classes to come in. So the other day, a case manager was telling me that her and another young adult that actually loves to cook were cooking together in the youth center, and they were teaching the other young adults how to prepare meals for the week. She was sharing that, her son, as a case manager, her son gets to come home from school and kind of throw his backpack down and go into his room to do his homework and maybe play some video games. And then she'll call him when dinner's ready and they'll have dinner together. And this is a simple luxury that the young adults we serve don't always have. At this very young age, they have to consciously plan out where their next meal is coming from going to the grocery store to get the items to prepare, and which is even harder when you don't have reliable transportation, to actually coming home and making those meals comes to life. It can be very daunting, especially on top of everything else that the young adults might be dealing with. The fact that we can bring groceries into homes every week and help them learn how to prepare healthy meals is both helping them in the immediate sense and in the long term. This is exactly how the 600,000 pounds of food served every year makes a real difference. Helping to fill hungry bellies is taking one more thing off of a hardworking person's plate. Teaching people nutrition and cooking basics is an empowering tool for clients to take with them long after they're gone from Harvest House.
I am glad we're talking about food. Anyone that knows anything about me knows that I love to talk about food. I'm Jim Rucius, Director of Veterans and Addiction Services, and I'm coming to you here today from our Women's Residential Recovery Campus. I want to segue right into addiction as we're talking about food because many of you know how addicting food can be. I can talk to people all the time and hear stories about them going on a diet or wanting to correct their diet in some way, lower their sugar, and just really committed to that, only to find out a day, a week, or a month later how many times they fell flat on their face, eating donut after donut, piling up the sugar with tea, drinking sodas. And I can understand that completely. Why? Because sugar's addicting. Food can be addicting. We see a lot of the eating disorders, and we understand that addiction to drugs is highly addicting. In fact, drugs can be even 10 times more addicting than sugar. And I think you can imagine sometimes the powerful craving, urges that you may experience just trying to resist sugar. Well, think about that and add 10 times to that, and that's what we're dealing with. We're dealing with addiction, which is a brain disorder. It's a disease in the brain, and to get an understanding of that, we have to go to where it begins, in the midbrain, a very small part of the brain. And as it goes up and processes up to the frontal cortex, where we're able to exert pressure and have some self-control, it breaks down several times. And when it gets up there, it doesn't hit its mark. And we find ourselves not doing the things we want to do. We find ourselves, just like with the sugar, wanting it inside really bad, but unable to exert self-control. And that's a very difficult thing. So I just wanted to give you a real quick picture of what a brain disorder looks like. And I know this is very simplified, but I need you to understand addiction, just like sugar, is very difficult to overcome. And we work hard daily to do that with our clients. I was talking to yesterday, as a matter of fact, I was in court talking to a lawyer and the judge, and I was trying to give them some context because the judge asked me, Jim, how many times will this person relapse and what's your policy behind that? And I said, Your Honor, it's really interesting you asked that question because so often this is a question that's very misunderstood because of the fundamental misunderstanding of addiction. We can take an average client that's using and actively using drugs, and when I survey them and ask questions, I find out, generally speaking, our average client is using 3 to 4 times a day, every single day. Roll that out into a year, and we're looking at 1,000 times a year this one client may be using drugs. Now, Your Honor, I would say you understand that every one of those uses is a felony. That's 1,000 felonies. When they come into Harvest House, we work hard to deal with the brain disorder, the disease, and give them the therapy and the treatment they need to overcome that. But in that year, they may use 4 times. And I asked the judge, Your Honor, would you call that a success when we've limited 1,000 uses and 1,000 felonies, and we brought it down to 4 times this next year? And the benefit of that insight is it allows our treatment team and our professionals to dial into these 4 relapses, to fully understand and help this client master the skills, gain the therapy and the traction they need to overcome those 4 times so that those 4 can become 2 and then 1 and then 0. Ultimately, that's what we're looking for. A life free of addiction, truly empowered through the mastery of skills. And Lord, and we just look for that, and we expect that, we hope that for every client that comes into our program today. Thank you for joining us here today, and thank you for the support moving forward.
Thank you, Jim. Without the innovative approaches of our community foundations, I'm not sure where our community would be. I do know Harvest House would probably not be serving the 1,000 men, women, and children we do every single year. And so for them, we are so grateful. Here are a few words from our presenting sponsors, Mark Pritchett, President and CEO of Gulf Coast Community Foundation, and Roxy Gerry, President and CEO of the Community Foundation of Sarasota County.
Hello, I'm Mark Pritchett, President and CEO of Gulf Coast Community Foundation. Welcome to Home Again Luncheon by Harvest House. This is their 8th one, and congratulations to Erin and her team for the great work that she's done over the years. You know, whenever Erin calls me, I listen, because I know whatever she brings will be well planned, well executed, and accountable, and done with heart. So Erin, again, best of luck to your team for today's luncheon. Know that Gulf Coast Community Foundation, together with our donors and our board of directors and our team, are with you. Have a wonderful luncheon.
Thank you, Erin. I appreciate the kind introduction, and how great to follow my colleague, Mark Pritchett. Wow, so much has happened since last year that we were all together at our Home Again Luncheon, and I was so moved by the stories and the ending song by Brianne. I want to thank everyone who has continued their steadfast support of Harvest House through this year. Erin and her team have been tireless to ensure the mission and what's being accomplished has not been deterred by what COVID-19 has challenged all of us with. So kudos to the team and the board on ensuring that clients are served so well. I personally have a friend whose family has been a client at Harvest House, so I've witnessed firsthand the amazing work that they do to help lives get back on their feet, turned around. Rebuilding stability in a life, it requires hope and action, no matter what the crisis. Harvest House doors are always open, and their hearts are open as well, renewing lives a person by person. So please join me in thanking and celebrating Harvest House for all that they accomplish. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark and Roxy. One of our sayings here at Harvest House is we wouldn't let your loved one sleep in a bed where we wouldn't place our own. This has been a driving force behind all that we do, how we nurture a culture of family, dignity, acceptance, and love. Here are some of our clients who, in their own words, talk about their experience at Harvest House.
The most difficult thing I faced this year was a relapse. I had some good clean time and from the pandemic and everything that was going on with work and my home life.
Coming back to rehab, realizing that I had to, that I wasn't gonna make it.
Having to go to jail, violate my probation.
Before Harvest House, I was lost. I was searching for a family. I was just searching to get my life back. And now I found it again. I'm home. I finally realized that I'm happy. I can be happy again.
The most difficult thing I faced this year was being able to find childcare for my kids during the coronavirus.
Living in hotel rooms with all 3 of my girls.
Being pregnant by myself with 2 other kids.
I had ran through every dollar of mine from COVID, every dollar of mine from my taxes. I had blew over 10 grand that I was accumulating in overtime on hotel rooms. Harvest House took me from worrying about where I was gonna lay my baby's head and a newborn and gave me a place to stay.
I was in a very, very dark place. I was homeless. My life was in shambles. And a lot of people I knew came to Harvest, and I watched their lives be transformed.
I was dying. I was killing myself. Most people detox in the hospital for 3 days. They kept me for 2 weeks and then sent me to a physical rehabilitation center, which is basically a nursing home.
Now, I've gained stability and I'm a better mom to my kids, and I like who I am now versus who I was when I moved in a year ago.
I was in serious trouble, but now I'm happy.
I'm grateful for my family and friends and everyone at Harvest.
Oh, I'm grateful for another opportunity at life every day.
This entire program, they definitely came and swooped me in at the most perfect time. It could not have been better.
My favorite thing about being here is the family, all the girls, all the counselors that helped me out, just coming home to a safe place.
We're all pretty much family.
You know, we fight, we laugh, we cry, and that's what I love about this program.
Like I always tell Mr. Tucker, I don't believe this is Harvest House. It's Harvest Home to me. You know, they taught me how to love myself again. So even when I feel lost, I know as soon as, I walk through that door, it's my home, it's my family, I feel safe here.
The day before Thanksgiving, I was just crying on the stairs and they took me right in and said, "You're home now." And I'm very grateful for that.
My personal goal for the next 1 to 2 years is to be able to get a home for my children and myself rather than renting all the time.
Go to school and become an LPN.
Get my own place where I can do my business. Maybe going to law school. That's always been my dream, to be an immigration attorney.
Get my license, get a car, and I definitely want to go back to school. I'm not a high school graduate, so the goal is small here. We're just trying to get a high school diploma and then going to school for something bigger so I can benefit my family for the long run.
I said I didn't believe in God before I came here. I've seen so many miracles. I can't not. There's a beauty here at Harvest. A love that I can't even explain.
They give people that other people wouldn't a chance. Majority, if you have a record or if, you've been homeless for so long, if you don't have anybody, they're here for the people that don't have anything.
This is the first Christmas that I've had with my kids in a house. We have a Christmas tree, we're gonna decorate. So that's it for me right in this very moment.
My favorite thing about being here is family.
A goal that I achieved recently was getting all my documents back and learning how to be in a stable environment with my kids.
I realized that I had to love myself, and I'm learning to do that.
A goal that I achieved recently was be on time with my rent. Yes.
Juggling all 3 of my kids with a newborn, it was something that I thought about all year. And I'm like, I can't do this. I don't know if I'm gonna, but it's not as bad now that she's here. Sometimes they're hard, but that was my goal, to just be able to function even though it's just me. And I am so far.
All these stories are so heartwarming, and it's even great when you actually know the people that you're watching today. And so I can tell you these stories are real, and we've been a part of them. I'm going to let you in on a little secret. The solution to ending homelessness and pulling people out of addiction and ending the cycles of generational poverty is all relationship. It's all about getting up close and personal and helping people when they're struggling. And that is the secret to our success. We say, welcome, come on in, join the family. How can we meet your needs today? How can we help you reach your goals for tomorrow and a better future? And we do that in so many ways. Sometimes it's sitting up late with a new mom and a colicky child who's never done this before. Sometimes it's sitting with somebody in the courtroom waiting and when they're nervous and just saying, "You're all right and I'm here and we're gonna do this." And sometimes it's combing lice out of a kid's hair for a mom who's never done that before and is overwhelmed. And it's still overwhelming for us, but that's what love does. Love says, I'm going to do this with you and beside you. I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'm going to help you do what you want to do. And we could write a check and pay some bills because the bills need to be paid. And those bills are important. Maybe they put somebody in housing, maybe they repair a car, and maybe they pay for some childcare, and those are important in the moment. But it's so much more when you walk alongside and say, how can we go further than just paying this bill? Because if all we do is pay that bill, there'll eventually be another bill and another bill, and nothing really will be different. And years from now, nobody will remember what that bill was or even who paid it. But they will remember that a friend from Harvest House said, hey, I'm going to be here with you in the good, the bad, and just walk through a really tough time. Because that's what really makes a difference. That's what changes the lives, and that's why we're here. One time I was working with a young lady who had had 2 of her children removed from her care. And she was devastated. And she did all the things that the court asked her to do. And it was time to meet the need of getting into housing, which is our specialty. So it was great. Got her into an apartment and they did the home study and the children came home. And we celebrated and it was exciting. We did a little party for the kids and her. But then sometime later, she kind of had a slip back and the children were removed again. And as it happens again, it's just a little bit harder to get them back. And so she felt like it was over. It was the end. She was ready to walk away, to say, well, I guess I'm not going to get my kids back. But we said, nope, that's not okay. You know, they're your children and they need you. You're their mother. So she did all the hard work again. And it was harder this time. She had to really fight off the insecurities or feeling like she was a failure. But she did it. She did all the hard work and she did get the children back again, and it's permanent. And that was 4 years ago. And those children are doing great in her care and she's doing great. And their futures are entirely changed, not just hers, but theirs and all the people that they touch. So as they're better people and as they have a stronger foundation, they'll be stronger adults and they'll be good parents and it'll continue on. And that's how you break a generational cycle.
There were times where we were homeless, where we had to live with family. My mom, she made the best of it and she got us through it. Well, as I see it, it's a lot of families going through those same things. I look at it as normal, even though I know it's not. I graduated in 96, class of 96, Booker High School. I went straight to the Navy, straight into the military out of high school. I had just had my first child, and I was playing football, and the debate was military or college to play football. And me just having my kid, I was like, no, I need money to support him. So I chose the military. The last 10 years of my life, I installed storm, sewer, water line. I've been at my same company for 9 years. Before that, I was selling drugs. I found myself in prison one time. Tried to do it another way, ended up getting caught again. Thought to myself, Maurice, you can't continue to do this. You're hurting yourself, your children, and your family. I didn't want to continuously find myself locked up away from my children and my family. So the last 9 years I've been working. I've been working at the same company. I'm very proud of that. I'm proud of myself for the change because like I said many times, I wanted to give up, but I didn't. I have a 4-year-old, his name is Noah. His caseworker contacted me one day and she let me know that his mother wasn't doing what she was supposed to be doing and that they were gonna take Noah again. That's when I stepped up and I began the process to get custody of Noah so he didn't have to go through that procedure again. But first I had to make sure I had my own place, make sure Noah had a bed, make sure the house was suitable. The COVID started, the coronavirus began, and that led to the daycares being shut down. Since Noah still had an open case, no one legally could supervise him but me and his mom. She didn't want to keep him so I could go to work while I was at work. So I ended up getting laid off from my job. And throughout that time, I found myself behind in rent. I've heard of the Harvest House, but I didn't know about the Home Again program. I think I met with Layla, I'm not sure. That's when I found out that I was getting another caseworker. And in my mind, I was like, oh no, not another caseworker. I just got over one. My mom being a single parent, me and my brother, we'd come home from school and the power's off. I'm pretty sure mom knew that it was gonna be, but I mean, what can she do? You know, she was doing everything she can as a single parent. So when you're down and depressed and you're stressed, you you don't even think about a future. It's like there is no future because you look and it's like a black hole. You see nothing. It's just like you don't even want to look ahead, you know? But now being here at the Home Again program, I can plan for my future. I can look ahead. I can do things to set myself into place where I need to be at for my future. In 5 years, I'm praying and believing that we will be in our own home. We will definitely be in our own home. That's my biggest goal, because I like that's the foundation. He won't have to worry about nothing. He won't have to worry about being homeless or where's his next meal gonna come from. Does he have clean clothes? Does he have shoes? I don't want that to be nothing he has to worry about, nothing he has to go through. When I see him, I see me. And I'm just happy that I get a chance to love him and take care of him and be the father that he needs me to be.
Hi, I'm Jonathan Miner. I'm the Director of Addiction and Veteran Operations. I'm also a father. I have 2 little girls, and Maurice, I can't imagine experiencing that kind of homelessness. So congratulations on all of your hard work, and we wish you the best of luck in your journey forward. I'm sitting here at my desk at the Harvest House Freedom Program. This is one of 3 campuses where we serve 120 men and women. This past year, we served 460 men, women, and veterans. The Harvest House Freedom Program is a hybrid. It blends inpatient recovery with a halfway house. One of the core focuses of the program and what we try to instill in clients is the ability to manage a robust recovery while dealing with triggers and difficulties that they may face. These things might come about by managing relationships or trying to engage in full-time employment for the first time in a long time, or even cleaning up the wreckage of their past. We attribute a lot of our long-term success with clients really in these areas by just spending many, many man-hours with them. It's just very labor-intensive. And this is where the Harvest House staff really shines. This is where the Harvest House program really shines. These problems and these triggers, they don't happen Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. They happen on the weekends. They happen during holidays. They happen at nighttime. And so our staff and the community here, we journey with them during those times. And that's when we support them. That's when there's an outpouring of love. But the journey doesn't end there. It doesn't end after they graduate. It's so critical to their long-term success that they're grafted into the community, the recovery community here. And it looks a lot of different ways. Years after the fact, we may participate in a wedding or be there for a birth of a child, or even sometimes do a funeral. They know as a client here that when they leave, they've become part of a family and a community, and that the door is always open, that they can always come, and there will always be a helping hand. And that is something that is truly special.
It was like any other day. I come home from school, got off the bus, playing. My dad come home. She gets off work. She comes in. She's not in uniform. We lived at the trailer park right there, right next to the prison. So she come home. She wasn't in uniform. She said that she was leaving. I remember hearing this. She said she was leaving. She said she was going to find happiness, quote and unquote happiness. It made me feel unwanted. You know what I mean? She didn't even fight for us, Not saying that that's what I wanted or anything. I think I turned out all right today, even with my struggles. I was in gifted classes. And they wanted me to go into politics. They sent a letter to my dad, but they didn't pay for none of it. I had to pay for like the hotel, room and board, stuff like that, But I couldn't go. You know, my dad's single parent, you know, he couldn't really get by.
At first, for maybe the first 2 months, I wouldn't start doing it right away. You try and get out and you do try to do the right thing. And people would literally, as soon as they see that, they're like, oh, you know, we're sorry, blah, blah, blah. We can't have this. And it would kind of make me feel like trying to get back at society for, you know, holding this against me. Or, you know, I'm really out here and I'm out of prison and I'm trying to do the right thing. I'm trying to get a job again so I don't have to live this life. It's either you're going to be poor and not have anything, or you're going to go and get the drugs that you know you can sell and make money. And that's what I did for years.
I think if I would have went to that thing in Washington, D.C., I think it would have changed my career path a little bit. Maybe I wouldn't have been a career criminal. My cousins on my dad's side, of course, they're all involved with the Mexican mafia. So me growing up, that's what I grew up with. I got locked up. I was 14. I had nine evade and eludes of an officer in a motor vehicle with speeds excessive of 120 miles an hour. It's crazy. I did like 3 years for that. Got stabbed and everything during that time. 6 times in the side.
I've never done any kind of program. I've never, you know, finished probation. I'd never done anything good coming out of prison. I don't know if this was God or what, because I called off the jail phone to Harvest House, and I think Mr. Tucker answered the phone. And I don't even think he answers phones a lot. So, and he said, yes, Ms. Butler, I did get your application and you are accepted here. And he told me when he got off the phone with me, he said, you know what? God bless you. And I was like, so anyway, I'm happy and I'm, you know, telling everybody in my cell, like I was accepted, you know, I might not be going back to prison. And so my lawyer comes and the day before I'm going to court, and she says, you can take 15 months DOC, no probation when you get out, nothing, right? So I was like, well, I got accepted into Harvest House, you know, and can we, you know, try and get the judge to let me go and try and get help? So she's like, yeah, what we can do is an open plea when we go in front of the judge tomorrow. We can do an open plea and you can, you know, maybe write a little something to read to the judge. The state's attorney said we want 24 months, followed by 2 years community control, and then a special condition of Harvest House or rehab. An open plea, I didn't really know this at the time, but an open plea, basically you have to go with what the judge says. There's no still 15 months on the table, you know. So the judge looked at them and said, okay, 24 months, followed by 2 years house arrest and a condition of rehab. I said, what happened to the 15 months? And she's like, that's off the table. You did an open plea. You have to take what the judge has given you. I was so broken, basically.
But so I heard about this place, Harvest House. I didn't think they were going to give me it, you know, but they did. And Dwayne Porter, he used to work here, as a matter of fact. He's from over there where I'm from. He come and pick me up, taught me a lot about me. You know, he showed me, hey, there's more to life. You don't have to fight for a pair of shoes anymore. You don't have to do this to eat anymore. Brought me in open arms every time. It's amazing, you know. Nobody has ever in my life, I've slept in palmetto bushes. Nobody has ever in my life. Come on, you know, knowing who I am, you know, that's amazing. All right, let's move on.
I get out. I'm handcuffed. Now I'm on community control, which is house arrest. I can't do this. I'm going to see how it is for a couple days and I'm probably going to leave like I always do. So like 2 months, I finally, you know, stopped struggling with, I can't do this. I'm leaving. And I loved it, actually. And I was like, you know what? I can't believe I've never tried to do a program before. It's not just any program. I think it's Harvest. So one day, Harvest House called me and offered me the receptionist position. It was hard to believe, thinking back on, before I could even get a job. Everybody believed in me enough to ask me if I, wanted that position. And I loved it. I did it for a year. And then Aaron and John came in the office one day and sat down, and they offered me the intake specialist job. I see everybody when they come in. I get them settled in and just let them know that we're going to be there for them and we're going to help them no matter what, that this place can change their life, because it did mine. I'm the one that people are calling, trying to save their life, trying to save them from going back. I even get to call the jail and communicate with the same jail that I came in and out of for 15 years. The lady that works in classification there now, I email her to give inmates applications to come to our program. This lady took me to prison twice. And they probably thought that last time they sent me to prison that they'd be seeing me again. Now I'm like on the other end of that. And that's somewhere I never thought I would be, but I'm there. I'm there.
The Harvest House community means life. I mean, I didn't have no image of life. None. Sell dope, get shot, shoot at people, run with all these crazy people. That's not life. Always like that. No, that's not life. And they showed me, hey, look, there's people that really care about you. No judgment, nothing. It's like they gave me life. You know what I mean? That's life. That's what that means to me. That's what Harvest House means to me, is life. That's what made my heart beat today. Because without Harvest House, I would probably be dead today. Without the Harvest House community, I would be dead today.
Wow, wasn't that amazing? All of the folks that are being helped every single day. I'm so proud of our leadership at the Harvest, and I'm so thankful for our staff that are caring and loving. And every day, people are having their dignity restored. When they lay their head down at night, it's a beautiful place. It's a safe place for families, for individuals that come for all different reasons. And if they come for food, well, our staff is there to meet with them. Our volunteers are working hard. And I'm so thankful after 35 years to see so many people coming together to help others. The truth of the matter is, we are better together. I remember Diana Ross. She would close her concerts with that song, and it was reach out and touch somebody's hand. Make this place a better world if you can. I remember listening to that and trying to sing it right along with her. And boy, is the truth. Now more than ever before. I'm reminded of those words of the song, America the Beautiful, where it says, and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. Now more than ever before, kindness and brotherhood is going to win out. I remember growing up as a kid, we didn't have much. Friends of mine, none of us had much at all, but we had one another. There was a brotherhood. And through all the struggles of life that helped us get by and get over. And many of them succeed and done very, very well. That's what's happening in Sarasota. That's what's happening because you have been involved, because you've taken the time to listen to this and you have supported us. I want to say thank you, Sarasota.
As I was looking at the end of the video and Dylan was speaking and he was talking about life, I kept saying, it's life. Harvest House has given me life. It's life. And it just was hitting me right here. And I thought, where there's life, there's hope. And where there's hope, there's life. And we are dealers at Harvest House. We're hope dealers. And Mr. Tucker, Anthony Tucker, always tells those that are with us, that stay with us, he says, I know the plans that I have for you, says the Lord, plans of prosperity and peace, not disaster, to give you a future and a hope. And of all the services we provide at Harvest House, hope is the most important. And I heard this story the other day and just want to close out with this story. There was a woman who heard from her doctor that she didn't have long to live. And so she went to her minister and she said, "When I die, I want you to bury me with a fork in my right hand." And he said, "Sure." She said, "Do you want to know why?" And he said, "Yeah, I guess, if you want to tell me." She said, "Well, all through my life when we would get together, you know, family, community, with potlucks, celebrations, whatever." She said, after we cleared away the dishes of the entree and the sides and the conversation was beginning to ebb, somebody would look down the table and say, "Save your forks, the best is yet to come." And so I want to say to you, all of you watching, that, you know, we have been through tough times this last year that has been made many, many people that are already struggling feel without hope, without life. But I want to say to you, because of you, and you're standing with us, because of our staff, the best is yet to come. There's a great future ahead as we join our hearts together, as you join with us. We're so grateful. And we will make sure that in this community, that hundreds and hundreds and hundreds will know that the best is yet to come.
Thank you, Mom and Dad. Don't you just love my parents? They are two people who have never given up on the mission to love all and serve all. What a journey it has been for them over their last 37 years. Mom and Dad, I hope you can comprehend how far-reaching your decades of work has been and will continue to be. Ladies and gentlemen, you and I have the great honor and ability to come alongside fellow humans in their toughest time, offering a helping hand, a hug, a place of belonging, a place to rest and find peace, and a place to build a future. For me, it is a privilege to do this work, and I hope it is a privilege for you to support it. Remember today, when you give, it will be doubled. You give 100, it'll be 200. You give 5,000, it'll be 10,000. You will find a little, if you got the tote bag, you'll find this in your tote bag and how you can give. You will also find it in the description below. You know, back in 1992, we only had 6 beds. And for the first 20 years, we operated without any private philanthropy or foundation involvement. But since this community, you, started supporting us, we have expanded from 100 beds to 400 beds. We've gone from operating only an addiction recovery program to also serving homeless families, veterans, and youth. Every dollar you give goes directly to supporting our mission, to innovation of how we can improve our services, and how we can expand to fill the gaps in our community. I hope this last hour has given you a little bit more insight into how your support makes a difference. We appreciate you standing with us, and we need it more than ever. I hope to see you in person next year at the 2022 Home Again Luncheon. Thank you so much.